Well, hello and welcome on in to Iceline Quad Rinks in Westchester, Pennsylvania. We welcome all our Midnight Sports viewers, including some new ones down in Grapevine, Texas. It's Game 4 of the My Hockey Liberty Cup tournament. Tonight's game is a semifinal matchup as the number 4 seed New York City Raiders take on the number 1 seed Bedford Bears. On the line is a spot in tomorrow's championship game. It's a whole new ball game for both teams as the round-robin records are wiped away. And we are all starting from scratch here tonight. Don't you wish the rest of your life were just that easy? Yesterday's Midnight Sports viewers will remember that the Bears are the team that defeated the Raiders, tapping in an empty netter at the end of the game to take a 5-3 victory in a close, exciting contest that was a virtual mirror image of when these two teams met in Katona, New York in December. In that game, the Raiders won 6-5, and so tonight we have the rubber match for you between these two teams. Should the Raiders win in advance tonight, Midnight Sports will have coverage of the championship game for you tomorrow at 2 p.m. But first, it's Game 3 on the season between two closely matched teams. It's the Raiders, it's the Bears, it's Midnight Sports. Keep it right here for Period 1's puck drop, coming up next in just 54 seconds. Well, there goes the buzzer as the warm-ups have concluded and the Raiders gather by their net for some last-minute strategy conversation. The Bears do the same right in front of the home bench. They are the home team in white here tonight as they are the number 1 seed, the Raiders in navy blue and light blue at the away bench. Looks like it'll be Ryan Speaker in the net tonight as Jason Bricker started the earlier game today. Let's see who Coach Coffey's going to throw over the boards as his 5 skaters to start this game. Raiders down a few skaters here tonight. And so the line combinations might be a bit different than you're used to seeing right here on Midnight Sports. Conversations continue as the two officials check the ice and get ready. They'll skate on over and have a conversation with some of the spectators. Looks like it'll be Samosi, Meyerowicz, Marchuka as the 3 forwards to start with Aiden and Tanoff as the defensive pair. Referees check both goalies. They check the scorer, and we're ready to go. It's puck drop for period 1. One by Bedford, right back to their own blue line. They'll go point to point there as Marchuka in on the forecheck. Meyerowicz takes his man out of the play momentarily, but Bedford moves it up through the neutral zone, and then they gain the offensive zone. Looking to get an early shot in on goal. They're at the far point, but it's sticked aside by Marchuka out of the zone. Taken over by Samosi. Stick handles through the neutral zone into the offensive zone. He's brushed off the puck, and he goes to collect again. Bedford beats him to it, though, as he loses a wheel. Marchuka in on the forecheck. Bedford now skates the puck out of their zone. They're through the neutral zone with speed. They lose possession, though, as they dump in. Comes to Aiden, who's able to stick that puck aside into the far corner. Bedford picks it up there in the offensive zone. They work it up to the point, but Samosi beats his man to the puck, and then he skates with speed through the neutral zone. It's a 1-on-2 for Samosi as the Raiders change behind the play. He's taken out. That's going to be a tripping call. As soon as Bedford touches up, they do. And with just 50 seconds gone on this one, the Raiders will be going to the power play. They'll be up a man here after Samosi was tripped up, streaking into the offensive zone. And so it'll be Berliner Bizarro, Finkelstein as the forwards out there on the power play. Marchuka now joins them as the fourth forward with Silas Gosler as the lone defender. It's going to be a face-off at the far dot. Puck sits at the dot as some sticks get tangled up. Raiders try and work that into the slot. Instead, Bedford comes to it first, and they jam it out of the zone. So Marchuka will turn. He's got Gosler back with him. They'll go point to point. No, excuse me, Marchuka will now skate behind his own net, build up some speed to set up the power play. It's through the neutral zone now. Sends that puck forward, but Bedford comes away with it, and Marchuka will take that loose puck back over and find Bizarro on the right wing. Bizarro curls toward the slot. He's rubbed off the puck, but he stays on his skates. Now he's on the forehand. He looks for Berliner, excuse me. Oh, it's cold in this rink. Berliner now finds Gosler. Gosler lasers one in, and it's gobbled up immediately there by the Bedford goaltender. So with 11:33 left to go here in the first period, Raiders with some nice push on the power play. Still 1:23 left to go on the man advantage for the Raiders. It's going to be another offensive zone draw. Far dot. Berliner over there. Tries to win that over to Bizarro in the slot. Puck comes to the slot, but Bedford controls. Now Finkelstein fires that farther in. Bizarro behind the net. Looks for a wraparound. Instead, sends it up to the point. Finds Marchuka at the near point. Marchuka goes point to point. Gosler loads up. Sends it right back to Marchuka. Marchuka now on the puck. Sends it down to Bizarro. Bizarro tries a tight angle shot. Gets caught in some goalie equipment there. And we'll get another stoppage in play at 11:14 left to go here in the first period. Still 1:05 on the penalty to Bedford for tripping up Rafi Samosi. This faceoff's going to be at the near dot. Bigliotti out as center. Kalemba and Kishlevsky with him. Puck one to the slot, but Bedford comes away with it. Can't flick it past Gosler. Turns the puck right back into the end boards. Bedford will try and pick it up. Kalemba there first. Works the puck over to Bigliotti, who tries to cycle it to the slot. Comes to Kishlevsky, who tries a turning shot. Stick gets in the way. Never makes it to the goal. Bedford now picks up at the near half wall, jams it out of the zone, and so Marchuka will turn all the way into his own end at his own blue line to set up the play again. Puck rolls off his stick. He collects in the far corner as Bedford just waits in the neutral zone for the Raiders to bring the puck out. They do. They find Kalemba streaking down the right wing. He touches the puck into the offensive zone, and Bedford will try and pick it up there. They reverse it right to Bigliotti. Can't get the shot through from a tight angle, and Bedford will again jam that puck up, but not out of the zone. Marchuka walks in, shoots in. Saved nicely there by Bedford as Gosler picks up the puck in the near corner. Lasers one off the chest of the Bedford goaltender, and Bedford will pick that up again. Just 11 seconds left to go in the man advantage for the Raiders here as Marchuka picks up the puck in the neutral zone. Works it over to Bigliotti, who finds Gosler, shovels it in. No Raider home there, though, so Bigliotti gets it again in the neutral zone, tries a long shot in. It's gloved there by the Bedford goaltender. And so with 10:07 left to go here in the first period, we're back to 5-on-5 skating, and that gives us time to remind you you're watching this game on Midnight Sports. Who you calling mid? Midnight Sports. Well, offensive zone draw, coming up here for the Raiders. It'll be Berliner. He's got Meyerwich out there with him. Samosi to his left. Berliner wins that on the backhand all the way back to the defensive pair of Hyder and Tanoff. Stick farther by Bedford. Now a mini break underway. Bedford's going to be first to this puck unless Tanoff can get back. It's sent in just wide of the cage by Bedford. Speaker shuts down the near post. Puck still sits there. And now Bedford comes away with the puck in the offensive zone. But it's jammed farther by Berliner right out. Bedford now with control in the neutral zone. They go point to point. They gain the line. And they shovel that puck all the way in. Turning is Berliner to pick up the puck on the forehand. Bedford man meets him there and gums up any exit pass. So it comes to the near half wall. It's sent long and wide of the cage as Samosi picks up the puck now in the neutral zone. Samosi on the puck. Stick handles around two men. Gains the offensive zone. Turns it onto his forehand. He goes up and over the shoulder of the Bedford goaltender. And that's a Raiders goal. 9:22 left here in the first period. Rafi Samosi does it himself, goes up and over the shoulder of the Bedford goaltender to give the Raiders a 1-goal lead to open the game. Well, ensuing faceoff's going to be Marchuka, Finkelstein, and Bizarro as the forwards. Steinfink and Aiden out there. Marchuka wins that over to Finkelstein. Tries to work it farther for Bizarro. Bedford in the way, though, so it's chopped right back farther in the neutral zone by Steinfink. Now Finkelstein with the puck. Leaves it for Marchuka. Marchuka breaks into the offensive zone. He's got Bizarro streaking with him. He tries a backhander. Doesn't connect with Bizarro to bat it out of the air, so Bedford gets that puck up to the near point. Not out. Good keep there by Nate Steinfink. And now shepherded over by Bizarro to Finkelstein, who drops that puck in deep, and Marchuka gives chase. Marchuka on the puck at the end boards, trying to work that puck around two men. He does. He emerges with it in the near corner, feathers it up to Steinfink at the near point, who dumps it right back in, and now Bizarro fires in on the forecheck. Bizarro takes over the puck, works it to the far point, does Bizarro, but that puck comes out of the zone as it rolls on edge, so Aiden will go point to point with Steinfink. Steinfink gains the line, soft dump in, so it's not going to be an icing, and then he cuts out the exit zone pass in the neutral zone. Aiden now on the puck. He goes forehand, backhand. He's got Steinfink with him, a little too close though, so he sends it to the weak side, and Bizarro picks it up. Bizarro on the forehand. He stops and then dumps that off to Marchuka, and Bedford and the linesman get in the way, so that puck does not get in deep, but it does eventually come back to Bizarro. He's on the backhand in the slot. He skates all the way across the rink, finds Gosser. Look out, deflection there, never reaches the net, and it comes into the near corner. Finkelstein picks up there, looking for a teammate in the slot. Instead, Bedford comes away with it, and they're going to need to make a change. They try a long shot in on Speaker, who just sticks that aside and leaves it for Aiden there in the defensive zone. Aiden now picks up the puck, works it up to Bizarro. Bizarro tries to go weak side there, hits a stick, and recovers the puck himself. Now he breaks into the offensive end, dumps that puck in so the Raiders can complete a change behind the play. Vigliotti bodies his man. Bedford comes away momentarily. Puck rolls to Koslewski and then comes off his stick, so Bedford with speed comes the other way. Tanoff turns to stay with his man and try and push him outside. He's around, rolling puck, comes into the blue paint. No harm, no foul for the Raiders, though, as it's cleared out by the Raiders defenseman. Vigliotti with speed, trying to track down that puck before Bedford gets to it. Instead, the Bears come away with it. They send it into the neutral zone. Now the Bears with speed in the neutral zone, trying to set up a play and dangle around Tanoff. Shot comes in, goes wide of the cage. Tanoff picks it up there, chops it off the boards, not out, as Bedford dumps right back in. Bedford now on the puck at the near corner until it does come to Tanoff. He's able to use the boards to get that puck out of the zone. Bouncing puck, looks like it's going to hit the end line here, so we'll get a whistle for icing. And at 6:58 left to go here in the first period, it's going to be a defensive zone draw. The Raiders up a goal. Well, the 5 Raiders skaters out there now will be Marchuka, Samosi, Aiden, Meyerwich, and Hyder. Marchuka's going to take this draw at the near dot. It's going to be coming to Speaker's right. Puck's dropped. Marchuka wins it back to Aiden, and the puck sits in the near corner until Marchuka gets it back. He sends it diagonally up into the neutral zone. Puck rolls off Samosi's stick, and Bedford breaks right back into the offensive end. Bedford with the puck at the near point. They try and dump it in. Marchuka chops it out of the air, and he'll shepherd that behind his own net and try and set up a play. He sends it rink wide. It bounces over a Bedford stick and into the neutral zone, so Bedford takes back over in the neutral zone. They'll go point to point there and try and set up a play of their own. They're into the neutral zone, but it's gummed up by Hyder, who takes over the puck there, and he dumps it in. Raiders will break back into the offensive zone here as the Bedford goalie out of the net stops that puck from becoming a dump and chase situation for the Raiders, where they pick up possession. Samosi all over his man in the near corner. Eliminates him from the play. No arm raised. We play on as Marchuka gets the puck in the far corner. Tries to send that into the slot. Instead, Bedford comes away with it. Only so far as Steinfink, who picks up the puck, dumps it right back in. No offside there as Bedford picks up the puck. Samosi takes his man out of the play. Some physical play here in the first period. No calls as of yet. Steinfink tries to dump it in. It hits a body, and Bedford breaks out of the zone with it. Dumps it all the way in. Icing waved off. Gosser will turn to pick up in his own end as Bedford makes a change. Gosser behind his own net on the forehand. Sends that weak side. Finds Marchuka, at least briefly. Arm is raised, though, so it must not have touched his stick. And so with 5:36 left to go here in the first period, it'll be a defensive zone draw for the Raiders. Well, scoreboard shows shots 6 for the Raiders, just 1 for Bedford so far. Might be an undercount for both teams, but it does fairly describe time of possession in the offensive zone thus far in this game. Early days yet, though, as the Raiders have this defensive zone draw. Berliner over the near dot. Tries to win that on the backhand. Puck just sits momentarily until it's sent up to the near point by Steinfink. Taken over there by Bizarro. Bizarro in the neutral zone. Tries to work the puck farther. He does. Bedford will take over in their own end with possession. They're at the near dot now. Bedford curls. Rink wide, sends that out of the zone, and Berliner will pick it up. Tries to jam it farther. He finds Finkelstein, but Pizarro had creeped just into the offensive zone as he had tangled with his man. And so with 5:17 left to go, get an offside call and a face-off coming just outside the Raiders' offensive zone. Pizarro, Berliner, Finkelstein out there. Bedford comes away with the puck momentarily. Finkelstein takes over, tries to leave it for Pizarro, who does find the puck and sends it farther into the zone, but without possession. Bedford now behind their own net on the backhand. They reverse all the way to the far half wall. Finkelstein gets to the puck first, and then Gossler pinches in to keep the zone. Berliner tries to pick it up there. He's taken out of the play by a Bedford man, and then the puck comes right back to his stick, and now it's Finkelstein curling with the puck. Nice save there by the Bedford goaltender. Keeps that puck out on a sneaky shot from the far dot. Puck now comes up to Gossler on the backhand. He flicks one in, bouncing puck rolling there. Pizarro had set up shop at the far post, and he just couldn't get his stick on it before Bedford did. Bouncing puck comes to Berliner. Berliner dumps it weak side, and Pizarro fires in, try and pick up the puck. Comes over to Finkelstein now, tries to guide it to the slot. Nobody home, but it does come up to Gossler. Look out, he creeps into the slot, sends a shot in over the goaltender's shoulder, and that's a Raiders goal. With 4:22 left to go here in the first period, Silas Gossler shoots one from the high slot, and he's able to feather it over the shoulder of the Bedford goaltender. And so it's now a 2-goal Raiders lead. Well, ensuing faceoff's going to be Vigliotti. He's got Kalemba and Koshlewski out there with him as the three forwards. It's Aiden and Tanoff as the defensive pair. We're ready to roll here. Puck's dropped, won by Bedford back to their blue line. Bedford has the puck. They go point to the far side of the ice, and then they look up to set up a play on the weak side. Instead, the puck comes to Kalemba. He gains the puck. He sends it in deep and then goes in on the forecheck with Vigliotti on the far side of the cage. Vigliotti separates his man from the puck and then takes over behind the cage. Looking into the slot, hits a body in front. Now a big slap shot by Aiden. Goes just wide of the cage as Koshlewski tries a wraparound. Shut down nicely there, though, by the Bedford goaltender. A little after action in the blue paint, but the Bedford goaltender able to keep that puck out. Strong leg pad at the near post with 3:55 left to go in this one. The first period of this one, that is. We'll get an offensive zone draw here for the Raiders. Same 5 skaters stay out there. It's Tanoff with Aiden as the defensive pair. Vigliotti wins that forward. Bedford takes over. They curl behind their net, and then they reverse over to the near corner. Vigliotti there first. Tries to send it into the slot. Instead, a good Bedford stick is able to keep that from getting in front. Now Bedford all the way into the offensive zone. Long stick of Aiden sends that to the far corner. Koshlewski in for support to try and separate that puck from Bedford. Instead, it comes to the far point. Slapper comes in, goes wide of the cage, and Kalemba tries to track it down. Bedford there first. They jam it in farther. Puck comes to Tanoff, who tries to send it out of the zone. Kalemba helps him there and gets the puck all the way out of the zone. Bedford will have to collect in their own end. They've got possession. They reverse right up the boards, and they've got men forward if they can get the puck forward with them. Bedford now breaks back into the offensive zone. They leave it there at the near point. Nearly set up a nice shot, but it was cut out by the Raiders just before they were able to pull the trigger. Puck now on the defensive end for Bedford. They get it through the neutral zone, now with speed, into the slot. Still Bedford until Vigliotti is able to send that puck off the glass, not out of the zone yet. No offside called, so Hyder turns and goes behind his own cage with 2:52 left to go here in the first period. Works it up just out of the reach of Samosi. And so Bedford comes right back the other way in the neutral zone until Marchuka gets on the puck and tries to move it forward to Meyerowicz. He does. Bedford changing right in front of the play there. Careful not to take a too many men on the ice penalty as the puck comes to Marchuka, and he sends it weak side over to Samosi. Samosi gains the offensive zone. He's on the forehand, sends that into the slot. Meyerowicz finds it there. Can't quite pull the trigger before a stick gets in the way. Marchuka shepherds that up to Hyder, looking for a deflection. Doesn't reach the cage. Now Bedford will break out the other way. It's a 2-on-2 for Bedford. They come weak side. They might be in here, Bedford. They send a shot in, and it's sticked aside by Speaker. Nub of the stick grabs that one and sends it harmlessly to the near corner as Marchuka picks up, and he skates it out of the zone. Marchuka passes it to himself, not once but twice. Tries to collect it at the near dot. Just 2 minutes left to go here in the first as Marchuka tries to work that up to the near point. Instead, Bedford reverses. racks it all the way around the boards as it comes to Gosler, sends a shot in, hits a stick in front, never reaches the cage. Samosi now working his man over as the puck goes past both of them, and Bedford looks to skate this out of the zone. Bedford gets the puck there, hits a body as Steinfink dumps it right back in, and it comes to the near point. Steinfink able to kick that farther, and Meyerowicz dumps that all the way in. Bedford will have to collect there with 1:37 left to go here in the first. They set up their play as the Raiders make a change. Bedford now with speed out of their zone. They're into the neutral zone now as Bedford. Berliner harasses his man as Bedford makes a nice pass into the offensive end. Shot coming in, but a stick deflects it wide of the cage, and now Berliner goes to work at the end boards, try and work that puck around. Steinfink emerges momentarily with the puck at the end boards. It curls right back behind his own net, self-reverse, and he finds Finkelstein turning with the puck at the defensive blue line. Finkelstein tries to work that puck up to Bizarro, and the Raiders do gain the offensive zone. Puck comes in, a nice glove save there. Initially hits the glove, pops up, and then it's caught by the Bedford goaltender. Nice save on the reach with 1:03 left to go here in the first period. It'll be an offensive zone draw for the Raiders. Finkelstein, Berliner, Bizarro, Tanoff, and Aiden out there as the 5 skaters. Raiders win that faceoff forward. Finkelstein fires in. He tries to come in near side and jam that home. Instead, Bedford's able to keep that puck out initially. Shot comes in, hits a body. Now comes to Aiden in the slide. He tries to feather it past one man. He does, but Bedford comes away with it in the near corner. 49 seconds left to go here in the first as Berliner goes to work. Bedford comes away with the puck in a 50-50 scrum, but Finkelstein guides it farther for Berliner. Hops over his stick, and now Bizarro in tight on his man. Puck comes over to Tanoff, who pinches in, works it down to Bizarro, again, looking for a man in the slot. Can't find anyone just yet. A lot of blue there in the blue paint, but it's gloved down by the Bedford goaltender and the Bears, making some nice saves here with 27.8 seconds left to go in the first. It's another offensive zone draw for the Raiders. It'll be Vigliotti, Kalemba, Gosler, Kishlevsky, and Hyder out there as the 5 Raiders skaters. Bedford wins that faceoff. They come away with it, but not out of the zone just yet. Kishlevsky sends it over to Kalemba, who tries to guide it farther. It sits in the high slot. Now Kishlevsky has it. He sends a shot just wide of the cage. Blockered nicely there, again by the Bedford goaltender. Puck sits at the far corner. Bedford looks to take over. Kishlevsky and Vigliotti in on the forecheck as Bedford sits on the puck behind the cage. It rolls there. Just 7 seconds left to go here in the first. Vigliotti tries to get it out front. It comes to Kishlevsky, who just misses wide after it hit a body in front, and that'll do it for the first period. It's the New York City Raiders 2, the Bedford Bears 0. Stick around right here on Midnight Sports. We'll put 13 minutes on the board, and we're going to do it all over again in just a second. Well, period 2's puck drop coming up next, but for now, we have time to visit with our first sponsor of the evening. Tonight's game on Midnight Sports is brought to you by Delusional Optimism. Hockey fans, you know the feeling. You've woken up and decided you're going to get a ton of stuff done today. All those items on your to-do list, they're getting checked off today, even though they've been on that list for weeks, or let's be honest, months. You're going to get them handled today. Surely the same things that have prevented you from those very accomplishments every day up until now won't happen again, right? It's delusional optimism. If it doesn't work out today, there's always tomorrow. Well, period 2 just about to start here. 13 minutes on the board. It's the period of the long change here in the middle frame. Officials checking both goaltenders and making sure they're ready to roll. Scorer checked, goaltenders checked, pucks dropped. It's Vigliotti, Kishlevsky, and Kalemba to open this frame. Puck comes to Aiden. Works that puck farther for Kishlevsky, who bats it into the offensive zone, and then works it even deeper as Bedford looks to break out. Bedford now with speed. Tanoff out there to try and shepherd his man wide. Kalemba also in on the forecheck. Bedford curls to the shot. Shot comes in. It's gloved down by Speaker and then cleaned up by Aiden over to the near half wall. Aiden all over his man to try and work that puck out of the zone. Bedford working equally hard. Comes to Koslewski, who skates this out of the zone. He's got Kalemba streaking up the right wing. He's got to gain the offensive zone first. He does. He's in the mid slot. Puck rolls off his stick, and then it's sent rink wide and out of the zone. So Tanoff picks up. Gains the line, waits for the Raiders to clear the zone. Puck just sneaks across the blue line. A little too early, and we'll get an offside call here with 12:18 left to go in the second period. And time to remind you, you're watching this game on Midnight Sports. If it looks colder on TV than it is on your couch, it's Midnight Sports. It's Marchuka over the dot, just outside the offensive zone on the far side of the rink. He's got Samosi and Meyerowicz out there with him. Puck sits at the dot, and then it's one forward until Bedford sends it right back the other way. Marchuka with the puck. Sees Gossler and Samosi weak side, sends it over to Samosi, who gains the offensive zone. He stick handles in deep, takes a hit there, but does get the puck all the way to the near corner. Bedford comes away with it with some speed. Marchuka guides it right back to the far corner, and then it comes up to the point. It's going to go all the way down. Arms up for icing here, and so we'll get a whistle with 11:54 left to go in the second period. It's going to be another offensive zone draw for the Raiders. They'll keep the same 5 skaters out there that were out there when the puck was iced. It's Gossler and Steinfink as the defensive pair. Marchuka, Samosi, and Meyerowicz as the forwards. Bedford wins that faceoff, sends it over to the weak side. Gossler pinches in, shovels it farther. Comes to a Bedford player, though, and they'll break out by passing it into the neutral zone. Marchuka stops, works that puck in farther into the neutral zone. Then it hits a Gossler skate. Doesn't get all the way into the zone after it's cleared nicely by Steinfink. Bedford dumps it right back into the offensive zone. We get a quick whistle, though, as the Bears were offside with 11:34 left to go here in the second. An offside will give the Raiders a chance to make a defensive pairing change as Hyder and Aiden come right back over the boards. And it's Samosi, Meyerowicz, and Marchuka still as the forwards. Puck now in the neutral zone. Bedford wins that faceoff and dumps it on in. Hyder turns with his man, and Aiden fires into the far corner. Comes out to the far point, but the Raiders are there first, and they twist and turn it all the way up to the near point. Hyder now sends that all the way on a reverse, up but not out of the zone until Marchuka gets there and feathers it past, and now Meyerowicz will give chase. Samosi on the weak side, trying to cut out any zone breakout. Puck does come out of the zone. Marchuka has to dump that in, as Samosi and Meyerowicz were looking to get that puck in the offensive zone. It had just come across the blue line, though, so with 11:04 and a choppy start to this period, it's another offside call and a face-off coming just outside the Bears' defensive zone. It'll be Berliner, Finkelstein, and Bizarro. Berliner wins that on the backhand. It's going to come all the way in to the Raiders' offensive zone. Speaker's going to shovel that over to Hyder. Hyder guides that up and out of the zone to Bizarro. Bizarro turns with it. Bedford tries to get there first, but Bizarro feathers it over to Berliner, leaves it for Finkelstein. Finkelstein shot in, glove down, loose puck in front, still loose now. Oh, the Raiders just miss the goal by going wide through the stick of Sam Berliner. Now Bizarro fighting hard for the puck. He sends that on a reverse. Bedford's going to come away with it at the near half wall, at least momentarily. Bedford jams the puck back into their zone. Bizarro picks up the puck on the backhand and tries to work that puck up to the point. Bedford all over him there, so he turns and works it in deeper. Finkelstein now on the puck. He gets on the backhand. He's got 2 Bedford men around him. Shot hits the side of the cage and comes over to Bizarro on the near side. Bizarro does find that point pass. He finds Aiden. Long shot in. Deflection in front. A wonderful save there by the Bedford goaltender. Keeps this a 2-goal game on the Berliner deflection. Puck comes into the slot. Bedford there first, and now Tanoff guides it right back into the zone. Good keep by him as Bizarro looks to pick it up in the near corner. He turns and twists, does Bizarro. He gets it on the forehand, looking for a teammate in the slot. Now looking up to the point. He finds Tanoff up there. Slapper comes in, deflected just wide of the cage. Bedford tries to pick up at the end wall, and there are 2 Raiders all over them. Raiders jam that up to the near half wall and then send it right back in. And Bedford waiting in the slot is going to be able to send this puck up and out of the zone, but it's a great keep by Tanoff at the blue line. Now the puck comes to Bizarro. Bizarro on the puck. Everyone in this arena thought that puck was getting out of the zone. Instead, it bounces there into the blue paint. It's still loose. It's guided over to Tanoff. Tanoff tries to pull the trigger there, just misses, hits a skate, and Bedford will finally get this puck out of the zone. They've got a one-on-one with Aiden and a back-checking Tanoff, taking the puck off his man. 9:16 left to go here as the Raiders break right back the other way. Bedford made a change. It's Finkelstein trying to work that puck in farther. Bedford all over him and takes the puck to the end boards. Bizarro now on the puck. Turns and twists on the forehand. Gets it on the backhand. Puck comes over to Vigliotti, who jams it but can't quite get it home on another nice save by the Bedford goaltender. Now it's a 2-on-1 developing for Bedford the other way. Bedford into the zone. Cut out nicely by Tanoff. Puck sits there. Guided in. Speaker just sticks that over to the far corner. Bedford still in the zone, trying to set up a shot at the far point. Finkelstein and Kalemba all over their man. Shot comes in. Speaker saves that. Rebound in front. Gosler cleans it up. He's on the forehand, and Gosler smartly just clears that puck all the way down, and it's going to be an icing on the Raiders, but they'll get a chance to take a breath here with 8:36 left to go here in the second period. Now the Raiders will get their lines corrected now as they were in the midst of a change, and it'll be Vigliotti, Kushlewski, and Kalemba as the forwards. Steinfink and Hyder out there as the defenders. Face-off coming to Speaker's left. Face-off won by Bedford, but the Raiders fire forward and try and get that puck out of the zone. They do eventually get that puck out of the zone. Bedford with possession, though, in the neutral zone. Bedford skates it all the way back into their own end. Harassed there by Kalemba, but Bedford's able to set up a weak side play. Now Bedford at the top of the blue line in the slot. Try and work it farther. Instead, Kushlewski and Kalemba able to work there and guide the puck right back to the neutral zone. Bedford dumps that puck in. Hyder reaches for it and now turns. He's got the puck on his forehand. He goes weak side. He finds Kalemba there. Bedford's going to come away with it at the red line, though. Bedford now with the puck in their own zone. They look to set that up weak side. They hit the linesman instead, and Vigliotti will take over the puck. He's on the forehand. He sends a tight angle shot in. Glove down, though, by the Bedford goaltender with 7:55 left to go here in the second period. Well, Bedford with some good push here in the last 100 seconds or so. Raiders have had to stand tall on their own end and then try and strike on the counterattack. Ensuing faceoff's going to be Smosi, Marchuka, Aiden, Gosler, and Meyerowicz. Aiden picks up that puck in his own end on the forehand. Curls around his net, leaves it for Simosi, who slaps it out of the zone, takes a hit to do so, and Bedford will take over at their own blue line. Bedford now looking to set up a play on the weak side. Puck hits the skates of Meyerowicz. Aiden comes up and shepherds that puck farther into the neutral zone. Heavy hit there, no arm raised. Bedford, though, comes away with the puck. They're at the far point is Bedford. They send a backhander, rink wide, and Simosi fires over to try and bounce that up and out of the zone. Instead, it comes to the near point. Slapper just misses. Simosi gets in the way and then stick handles past his man. He gains center ice and dumps that puck in. Not quite deep enough, but he does get it in the offensive zone. He was trying to get that puck all the way to the end line, but he did just enough for the Raiders to keep the offensive zone. Good play by him as Meyerowicz fires from the top of the slot at the blue line. Sticked aside by Bedford, and now the rolling puck comes up but not out of the zone as Tanoff's able to keep there on the long backhand. He sets up the wrist shot. Bouncing puck comes in. Saved nicely. No rebound there by the Bedford Bears goaltender. So with 6:47 left to go here in the middle frame, it's an offensive zone draw upcoming for the Raiders. Looks like Tanoff, Bizarro, Berliner, Finkelstein, and Steinfink out there as the 5 Raiders skaters. It'll be Berliner over the near dot, looking to win this on the backhand. He does, up to Tanoff. Tanoff with no shooting lane, just dumps that puck in, and Bizarro curls with it on the backhand. Then he feathers that up to Steinfink at the near point. Steinfink tries a shot, hits a body, goes wide, and now Bizarro into the slot. Can't find a stick. Tanoff walks in, hits a stick, and that goes up and over. Loose puck there as Bizarro tries to tuck it home, but we'll get a stoppage in play as the Bedford goaltender is down here for a moment. Net may have come off its moorings as well. Let's see here. It looks like everyone is okay. The net's put right back on its moorings. And we'll get a face-off coming here soon. Face-off one forward by Bedford. Comes out to the blue line, but not out of the zone yet as Tanoff shovels it on the backhand right back in the offensive zone. Bizarro leaves it for Steinfink at the near point, who returns the favor to Bizarro, and he curls in the near corner, leaving it for Berliner. Berliner works it over to Finkelstein. Finkelstein harassed there as Bedford comes away with it at the far half wall, still not out of the zone as Tanoff tries to slap it in farther, hits a skate, but recovers the puck, and now is on a wrist shot, sends that high, and it's gloved down by the Bedford goaltender. Berliner works it over to Finkelstein and works it back up to Tanoff. Back to Finkelstein now. Bedford tries to take over at the end wall. Bizarro gums up that play and comes away with it on the forehand. He looks up top for someone at the point. tries to send it weak side, but a Bedford stick gets in the way, and now they break with speed, does Bedford. It's a mini break out wide for Bedford, looking into the slot. Steinfink there to gum up the play. A wonderful stick by Nate Steinfink, but it's going to be a penalty upcoming on the Raiders, as Berliner pushed his man very close to the boards, but too far away from the puck. And so Berliner's going to go to the box here for 2 minutes, and what could be a real test for the Raiders' penalty-killing unit. 5:38 left to go in the second. Berliner to the box for 2 minutes, and an offensive zone draw coming up here for the Bears. This one's going to come to Speaker's left. It's Gosler, Aiden, Marchuka, and Samosi out there for the Raiders. Marchuka wins that face-off back. Gosler will turn, get it on the forehand, and work it up to Samosi. Samosi now bounces it off the boards, tries to get it out of the zone. It's jammed right back in by the Bears. Gosler recovers the puck, skates around his man behind the net. He's harassed with the stick on the back check, but he does get that puck up and out of the zone. 1:43 left to go on the man advantage for the Bears as they look for a home run diagonal pass. They find it just up the center of the ice. Try and dangle Aiden. Instead, Aiden and Samosi work together to get that puck up and out of the zone. Bedford, though, breaks right back in. They've cleared the zone. Now they're in the low slot as Bedford on the backhand. Shot hits this leg pad of Speaker and goes wide. Aiden on the puck, sends that puck up and out, but it must have touched the net as it took a carom off the glass, so it's going to be a defensive zone draw for the Raiders on the deflection with 4:58 left to go here in the second. Still 1:20 to go on the man advantage for the Bears. It's Meyerowicz, Finkelstein, Aiden, and Gosler as the penalty killers for the Raiders. One there by Finkelstein, over to Aiden, who works that puck farther, and now Finkelstein passes it to himself. He's got a 2-on-1 developing with Meyerowicz here. He passes the puck early as Meyerowicz gains the offensive zone, rolls just past him, so he dumps it in to kill more of this penalty. Bedford picks up there on the reverse. Meyerowicz is going to be first to this in the far corner. He sends that through the blue paint, but because the Raiders are down a man, nobody's home there. Finkelstein now first to the puck at the near half wall. Bedford comes away with it into the neutral zone as Aiden backs up to try and cut out any wrist shot from the near point. Bedford sends that puck. Looks like it got out of the zone. Instead, the shot hits a skate and goes high into the air. It's a infield fly rule, but we're going to get a touch up here by Bedford on a delayed call, it looks like, for what might be an elbow, and they'll go to the box. And we'll have some 4-on-4 hockey for 40 seconds with 4:18 left to go here in the second period. Now, there's going to be a lot of ice out there for the next 40 seconds. And then the Raiders will go on the power play for 1:20 once Berliner comes out of the box. So it'll be Marchuka, Bizarro, Hyder, and Steinfink out there as the 4 skaters for the Raiders. Marchuka over the near dot. Got Steinfink to his left, Bizarro to his right, Hyder behind. Linesman discussing things first with both players at the dot. Now the puck's dropped. Bedford turns with it. Bizarro gets it. He fires it in on goal. Saved nicely by the Bedford goaltender as that puck looked to be leaking ever so slightly down the jersey of the Bears player. Able to hold on to it nicely, though, with 4:15 left to go here in the second. Bedford wins that ensuing faceoff. They try and curl behind their own net. They're at first gummed up by Bizarro, then Marchuka. They do come weak side as Bedford with possession, and they just guide that puck out of the zone. It's touched up there by Speaker as no arm was raised on an icing that was waved. So, icing washed out. Bizarro picks up the puck in his own zone, skates into the neutral zone with speed. Now he's in the offensive zone, tries to go around one last man, but Bedford comes away with it. They haven't gotten out of the zone just yet. 9 seconds left to go in 4-on-4 hockey as Bedford turns with the puck. It's a 2-on-2 developing. Marchuka gets back now to guide his man wide. Bedford gets the offensive zone. Drop pass through the legs at the near point and then spun on in as we have some 5-on-4 hockey for the Raiders. Vigliotti fires that puck out of the defensive zone. Bedford turns in the neutral zone. They've got to kill another minute and 8 seconds as Bizarro picks up the puck at center ice. Bizarro now on the forehand. Tries a slapper in. Takes a deflection. Nearly goes in. And Vigliotti can't clean up the rebound as a stick gets in the way. And Bedford keeps play going. Puck comes into the blue paint there. Still Bedford on the puck in the defensive end. Oh, they must be living right to keep that puck out of the net. Bedford with speed now into the offensive zone. Vigliotti tries to shepherd that puck off the stick of the Bedford man, but it sits in the high zone as he dangles one man but not two. And Vigliotti picks it up on the man advantage with 40 seconds left to go on that power play for the Raiders here in the second period. Vigliotti tries to work that puck farther and deep. Instead, Bedford slaps it out of the zone. 2:48 left to go here in the second period. 30 seconds left to go in the man advantage for the Raiders. Marchuka picks up the puck. He works that deep into the offensive zone, loses possession momentarily. One-timer comes in, puck pops up, goes over the net. A wonderful save there by Bedford as they look to get this puck up and out of the zone. They do on a diagonal long pass that's going to go for an icing with 2:29 left to go in the second period and 12 seconds left on the power play for the Raiders. Well, the Raiders will get set up here in the offensive zone and look to win this draw. It's Kalemba, Koslewski, Aiden, Gosler, and Vigliotti. Vigliotti will take this draw at the far dot. Puck sits at the dot. Bedford comes away with it with just 9 seconds left to go on the power play for the Raiders. It's Koslewski turning that puck deeper into the zone. Now Kalemba fires in. It's chipped just past him. Aiden at the far point jams it in deeper, right back to Kalemba, who works the puck deeper himself, and now Koslewski fires in at the end wall. Bedford comes away with it. We're back to 5-on-5 hockey. Just over 2 minutes left to go here in the second as Bedford skates through the neutral zone and then dumps that puck in deep. Aiden turns to pick up the puck on the forehand. He's going to rack this around the boards. Nope. Faked everyone out at first, tried to reverse, and now he thinks about sending it weak side. Instead, Bedford comes away with it. Shot comes in, goes wide of the cage there as Vigliotti picks up the puck, and now it comes over to Gosler on a poke check. Gosler works that out of the zone. It comes to Kalemba, and now Vigliotti. Vigliotti, hard shot. The goal scorer from this morning shoots it on net, and it's saved there by Bedford with 1:42 left to go here in the second. Well, it'll be an offensive zone draw for the Raiders, and they'll get some new skaters out there for that draw. It's Berliner, Samosi, Meyerwich, Hyder, and Steinfink. Berliner leans over the far dot. Wins that puck over to Meyerwich. Shepherds it over to Steinfink. It goes point to point. One-timer can't connect for Hyder as a stick gets in the way. Berliner fires in to try and pick up the loose puck. Instead, Bedford comes away with it. Zone exit pass doesn't quite connect. It's turned right back the other way by Hyder. Puck comes back to him as he's got a man hanging all over him, and Samosi takes over that near point to cover and dumps that puck in deep. Now comes the Meyerwich. Turning with the puck. Comes just off his stick as Berliner's in for support to forecheck the man off the puck behind the net. Bedford stays strong, though, and works that puck weak side over to Steinfink at the far point. Dumps it right back in. Now Berliner on the puck. Gets rubbed off there behind the net. Bedford tries to come away with possession. Instead, the puck just sits momentarily. Now it comes to Berliner. Rejected once by the Bedford goaltender, and it's slapped all the way to the near point. Hyder picks up that puck, tries to kick it farther, but instead Bedford's going to get that puck out of the zone. Samosi back for cover, takes that puck into his defensive end, then reverses right back into the neutral zone. 45 seconds left to go here in the second as Berliner gums up the play at the red line, then it's slapped farther by Hyder. Berliner tries to touch it to himself. Some tired skaters for both teams out there. Samosi picks up the puck at center ice, works into the offensive zone, and then dumps it in deep. Some new Raiders will come onto the ice here. Just under 30 seconds left to play in the second. Puck comes up to Hyder at the near point. Tries to work that farther. He does. Looking for Meyerwich down low. Meyerwich on the backhand dumps that in. Now the puck comes up to Hyder. He dumps it back in again as the Raiders will complete their change. Bouncing puck comes out of the zone. First there, Silas Gosler works it over for Marchuka. 10 seconds left to go. Marchuka breaks back in just a little bit too soon with 9.8 seconds left to go. The Raiders can't pull the trigger on the offside, and so this faceoff's going to come just outside the blue line of the Raiders' offensive end. It'll be Marchuka, Bizarro, Finkelstein to close out this second frame. They've got Gosler and Aiden behind them. Marchuka wins it over to Finkelstein, who dumps that puck in. Marchuka fires in on the forecheck. Bedford desperate to get this puck out of the zone. They do. Just 2 seconds left to go. Now 1-0, and there goes the buzzer. After 2, it's the New York City Raiders 2, the Bedford Bears 0. Stick around. We're crazy, and we're going to put 13 more minutes on the board and do it all over again in just a few minutes. Well, as we wait for the third period to start here, we can visit with our second sponsor of the evening. Tonight's game on Midnight Sports is made possible by the art of pretending to listen. Hockey fans, we've all had to have hard conversations, tough talks that you want to avoid. That's right, it's conversations with your coworkers. But with the art of pretending to listen, you can navigate those conversations without pain. For instance, when your coworker speaks, rather than respond, just raise an eyebrow. That way you haven't committed to anything and you haven't had to pay attention. If you're asked a direct question, say something like, "I respect your opinion. What do you think?" Boom. 2 birds with 1 stone, a compliment and time to daydream. It's the art of pretending to listen. Why pay attention when you don't have to? Well, 13 minutes on the board as promised. Both goalies being checked here as ready to go. Scorekeeper ready. And we're going to get a puck drop here. Meyerowicz, Pizarro, and Finkelstein as the forwards. Gosler and Aiden as the defensive pair. Bedford wins that faceoff. Gosler fires over at the blue line to try and get that puck out of the zone. Instead, Bedford comes away with it. They've got a 2-on-1. They send one wide of the cage, and they'll pick it up here at the near point, but can't keep the zone. Marchuka all over his man and try and work that puck farther. Instead, Bedford comes away with it in the neutral zone. They go around one man and break right back in. They're on the forehand is Bedford. They dangle around one man. They try and go high on Speaker. He's able to shut that down. Puck comes up into the offensive zone. Bedford just trying to keep the zone now. Marchuka feathers that past one man, shepherded farther by Pizarro into the neutral zone. We're off to a flying start here in the final frame of this semifinal of the My Hockey Tournament just outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 12:19 left to go here as Aiden curls behind his own net. It's taken out of the play. Shot goes wildly wide of the Raiders' cage. Steinfink picks it up. He finds Pizarro at center ice. Pizarro now leaves that for Marchuka. Marchuka with speed into the offensive zone. He's rubbed to the boards, but not off the puck. Pizarro waits in front, tries to send that shot in to Bedford. Ben take him out and his stick, and now Bedford emerges with the puck in their own end. Bedford out of their own zone. Firing into the neutral zone there as a rolling puck comes in on Speaker. He plays it over to Hyder. Hyder picks it up there behind the cage. On the backhand, he finds Pizarro in the defensive end. Pizarro can't quite get that puck past the blue line. Now the Raiders scrambling to get it at the far half wall. Steinfink feathers that up, and the puck bounces right back in to the Raiders' defensive end before Bedford's able to clear all their forwards out. So with 11:36 left to go in the third period, we get an offside call and a faceoff coming just outside the Raiders' defensive end. It'll be Kalemba, Koslewski, and Vigliotti as the forwards. Aiden and Gosler as the defensive pair. Bedford wins that faceoff, tries to dump it in deep. Big body of Vigliotti, though, keeps that puck from getting any deeper. Now he shepherds it into the neutral zone. Koslewski picks it up, backhands it all the way deep, and Vigliotti will fire in with Kalemba on the weak side. Puck comes up to the boards. Vigliotti stands tall, knocks that puck down, takes a heavy hit there, a little jostling afterward. Puck hits the referee in the back, but Vigliotti comes away with it. He sends a shot just wide of the cage. Bedford looks to pick up the puck in the far corner. They do, but only so far as Koslewski, who works it farther for Kalemba. Kalemba sends that into the slot. No one home as Bedford picks that puck up, jams it off the glass, and out of the zone. Aiden will go point to point. He finds Gosler there at center ice, who hits a man on purpose as he dumps that puck in the zone, so there'll be no icing. Bedford works that puck up to the point. Look out, Gosler's shot coming in, deflected wide, and now Koslewski will fire in with Kalemba to try and pick up the puck. Vigliotti tries a tight angle shot. He's taken out of the play. Sticks go flying with the heavy hitting here at the near half wall, and we're going to get a stoppage in play as the whistle blows. We'll see who's going to the sin bin for this one. Looks like it'll be Vigliotti and a Bedford player. So coincidental minors given for all of the action here at the near half wall in the Raiders' offensive zone. It should still have 5-on-5 hockey upcoming. 10:39 left to go here in the third period. It'll be Berliner, Finkelstein, Pizarro out there with Gosler and Hyder as the defensive pair. 5-on-5 hockey as anticipated. Berliner on the backhand, wins that forward, but Bedford comes away with it behind their own net. Bedford looks to get this puck up and out of the zone. Instead, they hit a skate, and Berliner dumps it in deeper. Bedford picks up behind their own net. Pizarro on the forecheck. Comes up to play momentarily until Bedford takes over the puck again. They're going to be able to get this up to the blue line. Still not out as that puck flutters past 2 men. Pizarro curls with it, finds Berliner in the slot. Berliner on the backhand, works it over to Finkelstein. Rolling puck in the blue paint. No one can tuck home. Bedford clears, comes up to Hyder. Hyder loads up, tries a shot, kicked aside by a Bedford defender, and now worked right back up to the near point. Hyder tries again. Clear shot that time. Bedford goalie saw it the whole way, so Pizarro goes to pick up, works it over to Finkelstein. Finkelstein finds Gosser. Gosser loads up. Laser puck comes in. Leg pad save there by Bedford once again. Bedford's going to be able to skate this up to the blue line, out of the zone where Finkelstein takes over. The Raiders forwards have cleared. Finkelstein dumps right back in. Rolling puck hits the back of the cage, and now Bedford will pick up there, work it over, but Pizarro there first at the near half wall. Pizarro turns with the puck. He goes around one man, but not the second, and now Bedford looking to get that puck up and out of the zone. They send a sky ball out of the zone, and Gosser will turn at his own blue line to pick it up on the forehand. Bedford makes a change as they make that dump. Raiders first try and get that puck up and out of the zone. They do on the second try, and then it's backhanded up to the defensive blue line of Bedford, where they guide it farther, but only so far as Finkelstein. It breaks back in, sends a slow shot in, hits a skate of a Bedford defender, and now Pizarro sticks that into the blue paint, and it goes up off the goalie's stick, nearly into the netting until Marchuka gets that puck on a tight angle, nearly takes a deflection in front. Pizarro tried the wraparound, instead sends it up to the near point as a couple of bodies in the way, and Steinfink dumps that puck back in. Bedford desperate to clear this puck now as Steinfink again dumps it in. He finds Pizarro. Pizarro looking up for Marchuka, instead has to feather it up to Steinfink as the puck rolls on him. Steinfink has that puck leave the zone, and Bedford now tries to go fast to get into the neutral zone. They do. Hold a stick, but the puck comes into the slot. Return pass, hits a skate, can't connect, and the Raiders will skate this out of the zone. They're in the neutral zone is Steinfink. He waits at the blue line. He finds Marchuka. Marchuka settles a rolling puck down, taken out of the play there. No call coming. Some shouting there from the Raiders bench. Not clear if it was at the officials, though, as the Raiders desperate to keep the offensive zone here. Samosi has the puck come off his stick, tries to work it over to Meyerowicz. Aiden's able to keep the zone and find Meyerowicz. It's Marchuka all alone on the weak side. Tries to pull the trigger, can't do it at first. Then he tries to go 5-hole. It's shut down by the Bedford goaltender. Oh, Marchuka thought he was going to go up and over the shoulder of the Bedford goaltender. But the ice is choppy here in the third period. Wasn't able to pull the trigger at first, and by the time he was, the Bedford goaltender had made himself big. Got out there and made a wonderful save. With 8:11 left to go in this one, it's going to be an offensive zone draw for the Raiders. Vigliotti over the far dot. Wins that on the forehand toward Kalemba, but Bedford fires forward, and now Gosser's going to have to hurry to get back to this puck first. He does. Jams it off the boards and out of the zone to buy his teammates some time to set right back up. Bedford still hadn't cleared the zone, so we'll get an offside with 7:58 left to go here in the third period. And time to remind you, you're watching this game on Midnight Sports. Hit that like, subscribe, or notifications button. You'll never miss a Midnight Sports moment, and we'll appreciate the ego boost. Midnight Sports. That's Vigliotti just outside his own blue line trying to win that faceoff. Bedford comes away with it, and they'll cycle it into the neutral zone and then get that puck in just a bit deeper into their own offensive zone. The clearance attempt doesn't work from Hyder. Bedford now in close. Stick to side at first by the Raiders, and then it goes wide of the cage on the shot. Kalemba picks up that puck, works it up to the far point, and then it's jammed right back in by the Bears. 7:37 left to go in this one as Gosser touches the puck further to himself. Gosser now on the forehand, uses the glass to get that puck up to Kschlewski, who works it into the neutral zone. Bedford will have to clear the zone here. They do. They dump that puck right back in, but only so far as Gosser, who works it over to Kalemba. Kalemba in the neutral zone now, tries to work it farther. Big body of the Bears players getting in the way, though, and the Raiders have to take a second attempt to get that puck into the offensive zone. They do, but without possession. Bedford turns right the other way, and then the stick of Kalemba finds the puck, and he dumps in for Vigliotti to give chase. Vigliotti shoots that puck all the way in deep. Kalemba also in on the forecheck. Puck comes over to the weak side. Gosser pinches in, sends a shot just wide of the cage. Might have gotten a touch on it, was the Bedford goaltender. Hyder now jams it in on a slapper, and Kalemba gives chase at the far half wall. Works that over for Vigliotti. Comes up to Gosser at the point. Gosser with the shot goes well high and wide of the cage. So Hyder will slap it in again, and the Raiders will try and set that up. Bedford, though, wise to that move, and they work that puck up and out of the zone, so Hyder will send that over to Vigliotti. Vigliotti on the forehand, can't quite dump that puck in as Bedford comes away with it in the neutral zone. They've dangled one man, but not Kschlewski at first. Kschlewski sends his man wide, and then Gosser gets in the way of the shot. Bedford sends one through the blue paint the opposite way. It comes to the near point, though. Bedford can't work that farther, and Vigliotti has the puck. He looks up. He sees Kschlewski. Kschlewski guides that puck down into the offensive zone. Takes a heavy hit to do so, but Jackson Kalemba comes away with it. He sends a shot on goal. Rebound coming. Saved twice there by the Bedford Bears goaltender, and Bedford will work that puck up and out of the zone. Now Berliner fires in. He uses the glass to buy his teammates some time to clear the zone. Kschlewski dumps that in deep. Bedford turns with the puck at the near circle. The benches are getting louder as the time ticks on in this game. Berliner with the puck, tries short side. He flips it over the glove of the Bedford goaltender, and that's a Raiders goal. Oh, the tenacity on the forecheck there by Berliner. He's able to tuck that puck in on the second try and extend the Raiders' lead here with 5:49 left to go in the third period. Well, the ensuing faceoff, Berliner's going to stay out there. He's got Finkelstein and Bizarro with him. This game is far from over as Bedford wins that faceoff and works it into the neutral zone. And then Bizarro takes over and sends it back to Blake Hyder. Hyder sends that weak side toward Finkelstein, but just out of his reach as Bedford will take over in their own zone. They send it up the center of the ice. That's going to go all the way down, but icing's waved, so Gosser turns and gets on his horse to pick up that puck first. Instead, Bedford, though, there, and Gosser takes his man out of the play, gets on the forehand, sends that up to the far point. Shots coming in, hits a glove, bouncing in front. One miss there by Bedford, and the puck comes up to the top of the slot. Hits another body, and then it's shepherded out by the Raiders. Bizarro gets on his horse, works his way into the offensive zone. Bedford there first. A diving play comes up to the Raiders, but they're unable to get stick on puck. Bedford comes right the other way in the neutral zone. Bedford on the forehand. It's a mini break. They're in on Speaker. They try and shoot. It's guided aside and then covered up there by Speaker. No shot coming, but the puck sat in the blue paint momentarily until the big glove of Ryan Speaker covers it up, and we get a freeze with 4:59 left to go in this third period. Oh my. Well, it's going to be a defensive zone draw coming up here for the Raiders. And if you're not standing up at home watching this one, you might want to check your pulse. It's Marchuka, wins that puck back, and then guides it weak side, not out of the zone though. It comes up to the near point. Bedford tries to dance in with it. Instead, Meyerowicz is there to take that puck out of the zone. He looks up, tries to find the stick of Samosi, but Bedford comes away with it as it's cut out there by Steinfink expertly. Samosi jams that puck in farther. Bouncing puck comes to Steinfink. It's chopped to center ice. Meyerowicz finds Marchuka streaking into the zone. Marchuka on the backhand. Watch out. He can lift that puck. Goes to the forehand. Gloved aside by the Bedford goaltender. Wonderful save there as Meyerowicz chops it farther for Marchuka. Marchuka now turns with the puck. Sends it to the end wall. And Bedford's going to come away with some little time and space here as they break out of the zone. Headman pass, looking weak side. Marchuka gets in the way of it, though. Leaves it for Samosi, who finds the open space, gains the offensive zone, buys himself some time and his teammates as he curls behind the net. Hits the side of the cage there. Bedford will take over momentarily. Comes to Marchuka, though. Sends that puck just wide of the cage. Aiden tracks it down before it leaves the zone. Aiden on the forehand, jams it farther. And now Meyerowicz fires in on the forecheck to try and take his man off the puck. Bedford there, hits a puck off the dasher, sits momentarily as Samosi tries to send it into the slot. Marchuka now on the back check, finds Samosi. Samosi turns with it again, gets it on the forehand, sends a shot just wide of the cage. Marchuka picks it up at the near half wall, dumps that puck in deeper. Puck comes to Meyerowicz's man. He's able to separate his man from the puck, but only momentarily. Now it's a 3-on-2 developing here for Bedford as they hurry. They send a puck in, and it goes well wide of the cage as they make a change. 3:25 left to go in this one. As Steinfink picks up the puck, feathers it up to Marchuka. He's in all alone in the offensive zone, takes the shot. It's gloved down there by the Bedford goaltender. Marchuka harasses his man long enough for the Raiders to make a change here. Puck doesn't come out of the zone. Jammed farther by Tanoff. Sits at the back of the cage as Koslevsky and Kalemba fire in on the forecheck. Puck comes over to Gosser on the far side. He jams that right back in the zone. Koslevsky fires in. Looking for a teammate in the blue paint. Comes up to Kalemba. Can't get the puck out of his skates in time to send it in on goal. Koslevsky now with the puck at the end boards finds Kalemba. Puck still in the blue paint. Fired in. Oh, a 10-bell save there by the Bedford goaltender as it looked like Koslevsky had an open net, but he couldn't turn it in because the Bedford goaltender leg pads got in the way. Now it's a 2-on-1 developing the other way. Gosser the only man back. Puck in the slot there on Speaker. Oh, it's put past him, and that's a Bedford goal with 2:38 left to go in this one. Bedford's on the board, and I hope you didn't leave for the parking lot early because it's a 2-goal game with 2:38 left to play here on that mini break for Bedford. A 2-on-1 odd man rush, and Bedford finds pay dirt. So, the ensuing face-off here will be Berliner, Finkelstein, Bizarro, Steinfink, and Aiden. One forward by the Raiders, but Bedford with possession. They've got some verve in their skates now after that goal. They break right back into the offensive zone. It's Berliner harassing his man on the puck. Bedford with it at the side of the cage, looking for a pass, and a streaking player can't find a stick. Bedford now still on the puck. It's at the far point. Gummed up initially by Bizarro, and now out of the zone by Finkelstein. Bedford takes over. They're at their offensive blue line, but they lose possession of the puck as Berliner turns with it in the neutral zone. He runs into a man there, and Bedford takes right back over. Bedford trying to break in the offensive zone, but that bouncing puck crossed the line after a Bedford player. So with 2:07 left to go here in the third period, it's going to be a face-off just outside the Raiders' defensive zone. Berliner, Bizarro, Finkelstein has the forwards. Aiden and Steinfink has the defensive pair. Steinfink tries to fire that up and out of the zone. Bedford gets to it first, though, and they try and work that around the cage. Nice save there by Speaker. Follow-up shot. Oh, it doesn't connect for Bedford. And now Aiden just totally eliminated from the play on the puck, but he's able to work it over to Finkelstein. Finkelstein tries to get that puck out. He's on the backhand. Now he's got some ice in front of him. He skates that out of the zone, finds Bizarro weak side, who slaps it over to Finkelstein, and Finkelstein dumps that puck in. On that bouncing puck, stick to side there by the Bedford goaltender. 1:40 left to go in this one. Bizarro harasses his man. Bedford with speed through the neutral zone. It's a 2-on-2 developing for Bedford. They curl into the slot, stick to side by a diving Gosler as they work it up to the point. Looks like it's an empty cage now for Bedford. 1:24 left to go in this one. 6 skaters out for the Bears. Raiders trying desperately to get this puck out of the zone and onto the empty net. Berliner taken out of the play. No arm raised as Bizarro jams that past his man to buy the Raiders a little bit of breathing room. Bedford picks up in their own end as the Raiders make a change. Marchuka back out there now. Bedford breaks into the zone. Can't quite keep possession, though, as Gosler picks up the puck on the forehand. Racks that around the boards. Not out of the zone yet. Bedford all alone in the slot now. They try a shot. It hit the post. Does Bedford on that one-timer touch pass. Now Bedford picking up the puck behind the cage. 53 seconds left to go. It's Bizarro trying to work that out of the zone. Marchuka slaps it all the way out of the zone into the neutral zone, and Bedford dumps it right back in, but they're offside with 44.6 seconds left to go in this semifinal. It's Raiders 3, Bedford 1, and a face-off coming just outside the offensive blue line for the Bears. Well, I don't know about you, but I certainly needed a timeout there, and Bedford calls theirs. So we can visit with our third sponsor this evening. Tonight's Game on Midnight Sports is brought to you by Too Much Television. Hockey fans, if you haven't been ignoring your coworkers, then surely you've been asked what shows you've watched lately. Whatever your answer to the question, one thing is certain: you haven't seen everything out there. Responses will range from, "Oh, you have to see Tyranny of Choice," to, "How have you not seen The Bookworm and the Assassin?" And you're left to wonder, when are people watching these shows? And how many more shows could there possibly be? Don't worry, those 2 shows I mentioned were made up, I think. It's Too Much Television. It almost makes you wistful for a time with only 3 channels. Well, let's get reset here during the timeout. 44.6 seconds left to go in the final frame. Winning team moves on to the championship game tomorrow at 2 o'clock here at Iceline Quad Rinks in Westchester, Pennsylvania. It's going to be a face-off just outside the Raiders' defensive zone. Bedford has pulled their goalie. They've got 6 skaters on the ice. We'll see if they send 6 over the boards with a 2-goal deficit. Looks like almost certainly that's exactly what's going to happen once they break here. Rinks been running just a little bit behind today, which is why we had a delay at the top of the broadcast. As you can see, other teams gathering, waiting for their final game of the day to start. The huddles break at the benches. The Bears send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 skaters out. Raiders have their 5 skaters. It'll be Meyerwich, Marchuka, Samosi, Gosler, and Tanoff as the defensive pair, just outside their own zone. Marchuka tries to win that forward. Bedford comes away with it. There at the red line is Bedford. They send a pass in at the top of the slot. Shot comes in. Kicked aside there by Speaker. Bedford picks it up at the near half wall, works it in deeper. Now the puck comes to a Bedford stick. It's slapped wide, though, by a Raiders player. Marchuka tries to work that up. He does. He finds Samosi momentarily. Shot comes in the slot. It's kicked aside by Speaker. Kicked aside twice. Puck's loose. It's under him. We get a whistle there. And with 21.1 seconds left, we get a stoppage in play. Still 3-1 Raiders. Well, whatever Miracle Grow they're feeding Speaker seems to have worked as he kicked that long leg out twice and kept the puck from the back of the goal. It's Berliner now at the faceoff dot. It's won by him, and it's sent up but not out of the zone just yet. Puck at the near point. 13 seconds left to go in this one as Bedford tries to work that puck farther. They curl with the puck, but they're tripped up there. 8 seconds as Berliner turns, works that out of the zone, and now Meyerowicz gums up the play. Just 3 seconds left to go here as we get a whistle. Looks like it's going to be an offside as that bouncing puck had just trickled right back across the blue line. 3.5 seconds left to go as the Raiders try to see out this semifinal victory. It's Berliner, Marchuka, and Meyerowicz out there. Puck's dropped. 2 seconds and one. Fired all the way down, and that'll do it. It's a New York City Raiders victory. We've gone final here at Iceline Quad Rinks in Westchester, PA. It's the New York City Raiders 3, the Bedford Bears 1. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight, and don't forget to tune in tomorrow at 2 p.m. as the New York City Raiders go to the championship game of the My Hockey Tournament in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Until then, stay safe.